Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths that is based on the advanced information given to us by the exam boards. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. There are 10 squares in total, so each square is worth 1/10. And if we count all of the shaded squares, we notice that in total there are 7 shaded squares. So that's 7 lots of 1/10 or 7/10. To convert between meters and centimeters, we times by 100. So we do 12.31 times by 100, which would be 1,231 centimeters. The first thing we need to work out is the fraction that Sarah will receive. Well, if Jane receives 9/10, then that just leaves how much of the numerator to match the denominator. So 9 plus 1 is 10, so it leaves 1/10 left for Sarah to have. And the reason that works is that the total amount needs to add up to 1, and 9/10 plus 1/10 is 10/10, which is just 1. So next we need to find out what 1/10 of 60 is. So we know that we divide by the bottom and times by the top. So 60 divided by 10 is 6, and then 6 times 1 is just still 6. So our answer will be £6. So we're going to start off by working out what 100% of 120 is. Well, that's obviously just going to be 120. And we're trying to get to 6%. So we always start off by working out 10%. It's always normally useful. And we just divide that 120 by 10, so we get 12. And we try to get 6%, so it'd be nice if I knew 5%. And 5% is nice and easy because we just halve that 10%. So that'd be 6. And if we got the 1% as well, we can get to the 6%. So to find out what 1% is, we just divide the 10% by 10 and get 1.2. So to get the 6%, we're going to add the 5% and the 1%. So we're going to add the 6 and the 1.2. And so we just do 6 plus 1.2, which is just going to be 7.2. And that's our answer. Looking at this line, what do you notice about all the coordinates? Any coordinate along this line, the x coordinates are going to change, but the y coordinates will always be 3. So the equation of the line is y equals 3. We're going to first of all work out how many parts there are in total. So we've got James with 9 parts, 6 for Andy, and 7 for Tia. So in total we've got 9 plus 6 plus 7, which is 22 parts in total. And we're asked to find a fraction Tia receives. Now Tia's the last one, so she is receiving the 7 parts. So it's 7 out of 22. So to draw this straight line graph, what we're going to do is just pick 3 x coordinates, which is -2, 0 and 2. So I'm going to start off with -2. And I'm just going to substitute it into the equation we've got here. So y equals -2 times -2, because that's what we're putting in, plus 8. -2 times -2 is positive 4. So it's going to be 4 plus 8, which is going to be 12. So at -2, our graph is at 12, which will be here. Then we're going to put in x equals 0. So it's going to be y equals -2 times 0 plus 8. Anything times 0 is just 0, so it's just going to be 0 plus 8, or just 8. So it's going to be 0, 8 will be our next coordinate. And then finally we've got x equals 2. So it's going to be y equals -2 times 2 plus 8. -2 times 2 is going to be -4. And -4 plus 8, which is the same as 8 take away 4, so that's going to be 4. So at 2 it's going to be 4. So we get our ruler to be able to draw this in. We try our best to make sure it's as neat as we can. And make sure it continues on for the whole graph. So no gaps. So 3 as a percentage of 10, the first thing we can do is write that as a fraction. So 3 over 10. And then I can get the bottom to be 100 and the top will become the percentage. So I can times top one here by 10. So that becomes 30 over 100. And percent means per 100. Here we've got 30 per 100 or 30%. So the answer is 30%. With these questions, we've just got to go around and fill in what we can. And there's going to be some numbers like this one here we can't fill in yet. So we're going to have to be strategic in the order we do it. I'm going to first of all look here and notice that the total of girls and boys is 29. The total of the boys is 18. So take away the 18 from 29 and we get 11. Next one I'm going to fill out is this one. Notice that the total for the green is 15, total for the boys who's picked green is 12, and therefore for the girls it's going to be 3. Then looking around, what's the next thing that we can fill out? We can fill out this one, because the total for the boys is 18, green is 12, blue is 1, therefore we've got 5 left over. Then we can fill out this one, 2 plus 5 is 7. Then we can fill out this one, so 2 plus 3 is 5, then plus another 6 would be 11, and then 6 plus 1 is 7. We've got to first of all identify whose graph is whose. So looking at the green one hits the y-axis at 6, and it says here that Taxico charges an initial £6 fee, which would tally that up. And AB Taxi says that its initial charge is 12, which is on our graph there. So AB Taxi is blue and Taxico is green. Now it says which is the cheapest to travel 20 miles. So what we're going to do is go to 20 and draw a line up from 20. You can see that the blue line is actually lower than the green line. Okay, it's cheaper. So the blue line is cheaper, and the blue line is owned by AB Taxi. All probabilities have to add up to 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away these probabilities away from 1. So we're going to do 1 take away 0.09 plus 0.13 plus 0.18. And so that's going to be 0.4. 1 take away 0.4 is 0.6. So BidMaths tells us we need to do the indices first, and then we do the adding. So we go to the indices. 12 squared means 12 times 12, and that would be 144. 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36. So we're going to do 144, the 12 squared, plus the 6 squared, so plus the 36. And that will be 180. It's really important when answering this question that we're really methodical. So we're going to start off just looking at steak, and I'm going to start off with the S, and we're going to pair it with the first dessert, which is the I. Then we're going to pair the steak with the second dessert, which is the mousse. Then we're going to pair it with the third dessert, which is the fruit. So we're being really methodical. We've done all of the combinations with steak, and so we're going to look at burger next, and we're going to pair it with the first ice cream, then burger, and we're going to pair it with the mousse, and then finally the burger we're going to pair with the fruit. As long as we do things methodically, we don't ever miss any. The first thing to notice is that the tree must be closer to CD than AB. So if we draw a line across the middle, it can't be in the top bit because that would be closer to line AB. The second piece of information that is given to us is it must be at least 11 meters away from point C. So we get our compass out and measure 11 centimeters, or whatever the scale we're using in this diagram is, and we draw a quarter circle from C. And it says shade the region that it can be planted. So this is the region that represents closer to line CD than AB, but also not within 11 meters of point C. So the symbol here basically means and the way I remember it is if you draw that symbol and just put a line through it, you can make the word and. So we're looking at the probability of getting something that is in A and C. So the only ones that are in A and C are this 8 and this 9 here. So we're going to just add the 8 and the 9 together, which give us 17. Now we need to then work out how many numbers there are in total, so that's all of them. So 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 5 plus 8 plus 3 plus 11 plus 6. So we need the total, which is 54. And then we get the 17, and we put that over the amount in total, so over 54. So angles on a point add up to 360, and we are given the values of the angles, but in terms of r. So we know that r plus 9r plus 20 will equal 360. So we've got an equation here we can solve. So first of all, let's add the r's together, and so that will be 10r plus 20 equals 360. Then we're going to subtract the 20 from both sides. So we have 10r equals 340, and then we're going to divide by 10 both sides. So we have r equals 34. So our answer is 34. So this question is asking us really to divide the 5 3/4 by 1 3/4. So we're going to do 5 3/4 divided by 1 3/4, because we're finding out how many of each of these towels, which is 1 3/4 meter, can be made when the total amount of cotton is 5 3/4. So first thing we're going to do is convert them to mixed numbers, to top-heavy or improper fractions, because at the moment they're mixed numbers and we can't divide or times if they're mixed. So we times the 5 by the 4 and add it to the top, which will be 20, and then add it to the top 23, and then do the same. 1 times 4 is 4, plus it to the top is 7 over 4. Now a little trick here is KFC. We keep the first fraction, we flip the second fraction, and we change the divide sign to a times sign. So we're going to keep this first fraction as it is, change that divide to a times, and flip the second fraction. Okay, whenever we multiply, we just multiply the tops, so 23 times 4, which is 92, and we times the bottoms, which will be 28. And now we need to convert this back into a mixed number. So first of all, actually we can simplify this, because we can divide top and bottom by 4, so that would be 23 over 7, and then make this a mixed number. So 7's into 23 go 3 whole ones, and then obviously 2 remainders, so it's 2 over 7. Now it asks us for the amount of towels that she can sew patterns into. Now the issue here is that she will do 3 whole towels, but then have some left over, but she doesn't have enough to create a 4th towel, so it's just going to be 3 as an answer. Integer just means whole number, so we're looking for all the whole numbers that satisfy these 2 inequalities. Well, the first inequality says that it has to be greater than 3, so the smallest number that is greater than 3 is 4. The second inequality says it has to be less than or equal to 8. So I'm just going to keep going till I get to a number that is less than or equal to 8. It can't be 9 because 9 is not less than or equal to 8. So our answer is 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So in this question we basically need to add the 2 3/4 and the 2 2/5. So we're going to do 2 3/4 plus 2 2/5. Now if I just rewrite this, 2 3/4 can be written as 2 plus 3/4 plus 2 plus 2 1/5, or 2/5. So we can add the two 2's together to make 4, and then all we need to do is add the 3/4 and the 2/5. So when you add two numbers with different denominators, what we need to do is get the common denominators. And we do that by just quickly writing out the 4 and the 5 times table and seeing what the first number in both their times tables is. 16, 20, and 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's 20. So we need to get the bottoms of the fractions to 20. Now for 3/4, to get the bottom to equal 20, we need to times the 4 by 5. And whatever you do to the bottom, you've got to do to the top, so times that by 5 as well, which will be 15. And for 2/5, we'll get that bottom to 20, so we times that by 4. And so we've got to times the top by 4 as well, to make it 8. So it's going to be 15 over 20 plus 8 over 20. So we need to add the numerators. So it'd be 15 plus 8, which is going to be 23 over 20. Now that is a top-heavy fraction, so we can rewrite that as 1 and 3/20. And we can add the 4 and the 1 together to make 5 and 3/20. So the answer is 5 and 3/20. So we've got to first of all understand what standard form is, and standard form is a number that is between 1 and 10, but not including 10, times 10 to the power of another number. So to find out what the number is going to be for our standard form, we're going to just write down the decimal first, so 0.098. And we've got to put a decimal point in somewhere to make this a number between 1 and 10. So if I put it in here, that would make it 9.8, and we're ignoring the zeros to the left-hand side. So we know that our standard form is going to start off with 9.8 times 10 to the power of something. Now this times 10 is always going to be there. It's never divided by 10 or anything like that. It's always times 10. Next, we've got to find out what the power is going to be. So first of all, if it's a small number, if it's a number less than 1, which this is, it's a small number, it's going to be a negative power. And the next thing we do is work out how many jumps we had to do. So it would be 1, 2 jumps between where the decimal point was and where it is now. So 2 jumps means it's going to be to the power of -2. When solving simultaneous equations graphically, if you draw the lines to both graphs, which we have done here, the solutions, or solution, because they're both linear, will just be where the two graphs cross. So this here will be our solution. So x is 2 and y is -4. First thing we notice is that there is a square here. So we can work out what this length is going to be. It's also going to be 40 centimeters. And whenever we're working out the area of a shaded area, we're normally working out the area of two shapes and subtracting one from the other. And this question's really no different. So we're going to start off working out the area of the square. And all we need to do now for that is 40 times 40, which will be 1,600 centimeters squared. I normally only put units in our answer. The next thing we're going to do is work out the area of the circle, but to do that we need to work out what the diameter of the circle is, and if you notice that the diameter of the circle is just 40 degrees. It's the same as the width of the square, or height of the square. So if the diameter is 40 degrees, the radius would be 20 degrees. So for the circle, for the area of the circle, we're going to do pi times the radius, which is 20 squared, and 20 squared would be 400, so this will be 400 pi. This question's asking us to leave it in terms of pi, so we're going to do that. Now next we're going to work out the all of the corners, so that includes these three here and this one. So I'll say like, I don't know, 4 corners. Just try and explain to the person marking my exam what I'm doing. And to do that, we're just going to do the square, take away the circle. So 1600, take away 400 pi. Now we can't actually do anything more than that. That is our answer. So it's just, we just leave it at that. And to work out just the shaded bit, which is this bit here, they are 4 equal amounts that we've got for these corners. So just one corner, which is the shaded bit, will be the 4 corners divided by 4. Now we've got a kind of fraction here. We can divide all of the terms by 4. So that will leave 1 at the bottom, 100 pi here, and this will be 1600 divided by 4 is 400. So we're just cancelling the fraction, and actually we leave it as 400 minus 100 pi, and that indeed is our answer. You can't simplify that any further. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.